do you think that this is the reckoning week?
Yeah, like I wrote in the kind of matchups thing I wrote this week, like, is this the week that the Coach Prime Supernova fizzles out? Certainly not from like an attention standpoint, but just an on the field competitive standpoint. I think 20.5 points is a lot. I think it opened at 19. I saw it got to 21 at some point. That seems like too much for me. This is, kind of the same talk that everyone had about Colorado heading into that TCU opener, where everyone thought they were going to get rolled and the Deion shine was going to completely go away. And, I'm not ready to pick that Colorado is going to win this game at Oregon, but I can't get myself to a point thinking where Oregon's going to win by 3 touchdowns.
I'm with you. I think people saw 9 million to be exact, saw Colorado play awful against Colorado State. That's the worst they played all season. That's just reality of what it was. And they're better than that. They're, how good is Colorado? I think is still a really complicated question that we don't have an answer to. But they're not 21 points worse than Oregon. I think Oregon's really, really good. I think this game is going to have about a bajillion points. I was wondering what the over-under was, and my thought was, are we going to sniff the 80s? We've seen that a couple times over the last 5 years, and 70 seems low for this game. I think the only way that it stays under 70 is if Colorado just can't block at all, and Shedeur just can't get any time to do anything. But Oregon's going to get their points for sure. We'll see about Colorado. Colorado's not good at corner. That's doubly true without Travis Hunter, who missed this game with a lacerated liver. Please don't send any death threats to me or Henry Blackburn or anybody. But that's just the reality of the situation. TCU had the receivers to take advantage of that. They didn't. Chandler Morris didn't play well enough in that game. Nebraska didn't have the personnel to take advantage of that. Oregon has the personnel. Troy Franklin, absolute dog. We'll see about Gary Bryant Jr. and Tez Johnson. But, Will Stein's been killing it. They haven't missed Kenny Dillingham that much. So I just think Oregon's going to score at will in this game. Colorado's going to score too. I have some questions about the offensive line, but I'm with Justin. 20.5 that's too many. I think Colorado scores enough points to get within that number.
I really, really have a hard time with this because I've been kind of on the fade Colorado bandwagon from the beginning of the year.
How's that going for you?
It hadn't been going real well for me. Last week went a little bit better than usual because I think I was, there's something weird about that line and how everybody was just hammering Colorado after the sunglasses comment.
What was it, like 92% of the money was on Colorado?
Yeah, everybody was on Colorado, and the spread wouldn't go over 24.5 because the casinos didn't want to take sharp action over 24, which kind of got my antennas up of like, okay, there's another game that we're picking this week where something similar is happening, that like the Clemson Florida State game, which we'll get to, I think is kind of bizarre too. But the notion that Colorado is actually playing a team with elite level athletes for the first time this year. Mm-hmm. Like, and I mean, like at the skill positions,
and experience
is going to be really, really tough to overcome. And it's like kind of like one of these deals where if you just showed me this on paper before I knew any of the previous results, I would be pretty quick to just go ahead and choose Oregon to cover the points. But I've been doing it every single week and I've been wrong. So now the popular play, at least on the picks stuff that we were doing on our website, is everybody's picking Oregon to cover. Now it's like, okay, well, if everybody thinks Oregon's going to win by 100, then I guess Colorado is the side that I'm going to play here. So tired of getting burned. 20.5 points is a lot. I'm a little bit worried that Travis Hunter is not playing in this game because like Weaver's a really good player. They have some studs. Shedeur's been on the money. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, I wonder if this is Colorado doesn't have the horses game that we have
to win. I think you're right, but the horses 20 and that's a lot of points, man. And I still think TCU,
the team that you're playing can score on every possession. That's the thing. It's like it seems like a lot of points, but if the score is 28-7 at the end of the first quarter, like they already covered the spread.
I'm with you all
the time.
We'll see.
I'm with you guys on Oregon though, but they played at Texas Tech, which tough environment. Texas Tech, despite an 0-2 start, I think is a decent team. They scored 38 points. Oregon scored 38 points, and 6 of those were on a pick six at the end of the game that Texas Tech gifted them. So yeah, exactly. So I think Bo Nix is good. I think their offense is really good. I think their defense is, much better compared to Colorado's defense, obviously. But I don't think it's like a guarantee they're just going to put up 56 points or something like that. They didn't do it week 2.
By the way, we gotta talk about Deion's overtime strategy. This has been it got glossed over because they won the game. So Shador did not mess up the coin toss. Deion explicitly said, and he talked about it Tuesdays. Like, I can't believe nobody's asked me about this. They want the ball first to put pressure on the opponent, and he trusts Shador, with basically his life at this point. So I'm curious. So his concept,
which is why everybody was freaking out of like, why does Colorado have the ball again after they scored?
Well, his belief is that the value of the pressure that you put on an opponent outvalues getting 25% more plays to convert a first round. This seems insane to me. I'm not a math guy, but I would like 4 plays guaranteed to get a first down and to score a touchdown than this sort of idea that you can put pressure on a team in a game where there's 87 points. I totally disagree with Deion on this concept. I get where he's coming from, and it worked out for him, but I don't know that Colorado State was just like, under pressure, and they got, more likely if you take defense first, instead of trying to throw up a Hail Mary, they're kicking a field goal there. It seems to me, I'd like to maybe poll some coaches on this. You don't ever see anybody go offense first, even teams.
Well, because everybody's all about the simple math of the analytics of this, and that's you'd rather have 4 downs to get a first down than 3.
Psychology over math is what we're.
But the thing too that I want to know about the psychology here, and Justin, tell me what you think about this. If you do opt to go first with the ball because you want to put pressure on your opponent, and that's kind of how you feel, that's what Deion feels, then do you take the ball knowing that it's 4 down territory from the beginning?
Yeah, probably. I feel like we wrote something about this on The Athletic last year. I thought someone did the go on offense first.
Maybe
it was
either
either Bruce or Max wrote about it.
Yeah.
I can't remember the team.
It was a Mac game, I think, that somebody did it and everyone was freaking out. Or maybe it was
Texas Tech. It could have been Texas Tech.
I mean, they would fit that, idea, right? But no, I'm with you, Ari. If you're gonna do it, like I can get my mind around that logic of we're gonna score, especially if you're a team like Colorado and Deion. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't see how you go out there and on 3rd and 7 from the 25, you opt to kick a field goal, because then it feels like it takes a lot. It puts so much pressure on your defense to then go out there and feel like you have to hold them to that.
I'm fascinated. We just like, it's basically Deion bucking what is generally accepted to be common sense in the sport, but he does that in 100 different other ways. Just add
but
this
also
to the list.
But does that change depending on who your opponent is too? Like, I'm sure Deion went into overtime knowing that Colorado State couldn't stop them.
I've asked Lane Kiffin about this, who's probably one of, if not the most aggressive coach, and he would argue no. He would argue if you're playing a better opponent, then you go for it even more. Basically, like that you would need to.
Yeah, because 3's not going to win it anyway.
Basically, so I think like some people might say yes, if you're playing, if he was playing Alabama instead of Colorado State, maybe he doesn't do it that way. But I think he probably still would have.
Is there any logic to the idea that, all right, say you go out there and get 3 when you have the ball first, that the other team's like gets conservative and settles a little bit because they know they only need 3, and so instead of trying to come out second and score a touchdown and win the game, they get a little more conservative? That's like really psychological mind game stuff that maybe Deion is 3D chess.
I don't know. It just seemed weird in the moment. I thought maybe they botched the coin toss because I think Shador picked the
It was so weird that we didn't know what was going on with who was on offense.
The mic was broken. The mic wasn't working on the
and it was 2 a.m. East Coast time.
Yeah,
so everyone
I couldn't hear exactly what was happening. So I it's interesting. It's a weird thing, but I'm intrigued to see how this plays out in the future. Ari, so I guess so what? So we have all 3 of us are on Colorado this week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I don't love that.
I think we're gonna know.
Justin taking Ohio State only made me more emboldened on Notre Dame.
Yeah. So we'll see. But hey, you know what? The question I have, and then we'll move on, and we'll go a little bit quicker for the rest of the games. But these are the 2 big ones. If Colorado were to lose 56-14 or something, and they just got their ass kicked,
it's on the table.
and I'm not saying I think that's going to happen, but if it did, what does that mean for how fans consume Colorado? Like, are they like getting more and more interesting because they keep winning games and it keeps getting more and more higher stakes? Or do you think that they're already at a point where they're must-watch television, even if they're a 2 or 3 loss team with blowout losses to USC and Oregon? Like,
well, depends on. I think it depends on what you do to USC. If you beat USC or you lose to USC by a touchdown, that's different. If you get beat 56-14 in this game and then you get beat 61-13 a week later, then I think then you're in kind of a weird spot where you're going to play out the rest of the season. You're probably going to a bowl game. There's a gawk factor of the Deion, but I don't think anybody takes you seriously if you do that.
That's the thing.
Colorado's forcing you to take them seriously these first 3 weeks.
But the gawk factor, I think that's a good way of putting it, for the 9 million views that it got on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. That does not exist again if they get their ass kicked on Saturday. Like, I think that like the curiosity of whether Colorado,
they're in a tight game with USC, it does, Ari. If they might,
I'm saying like against a team that no one cares about. They're playing Colorado State. Like if they lose by 100 to one of these next 2 games, and then they get into a triple overtime game with Stanford, people are going to watch. But the excitement and the edge of your seat feeling that we all felt watching that game goes away, because there's still a general, the thing with Colorado coming into the year was that we were just generally curious to see what they were going to look like. Yeah. And now that curiosity has been replaced with how good are they? So I feel like we're all kind of taking it week by week, and every week has been an incredible testament to what they've built there. But like now they're playing an actual Big Daddy team.
Yep.
And I just don't know what the response to that's going to be either. So I'm taking Colorado with the points, and I feel terrible about it. I think Oregon's going to kill them.
It's on the table, but I feel pretty good about it. I think Colorado people are on fraud watch because they played so poorly against Colorado State, and Colorado State is not very good. But there might have been an element of looking ahead as well.
Or maybe Colorado is just kind of like turning into what they are, which is a team that struggles against Colorado State. Like that's the thing.
The good thing, Ari, is that we play these games, so we're gonna find out.
Yeah.